Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you for this segment of our online studying. Today, we have come to discuss with the senior fives. Before I proceed with my further discussions, please allow me to remove my mask because I believe I am doing a fair job when it comes to social distancing. But on top of it, I encourage all of you to continue following the standard operating procedures that were provided to us by the government and other relevant authorities. Let us put on our masks very well. Let us avoid moving unnecessarily to other areas where we might contract the COVID-19. Let us generally try to follow the standard operating procedures. Today, being the 20th of the May of the month of July, I want to congratulate all my Muslim brothers and friends upon reaching this Eid Mubarak. But besides Eid, we are going to proceed with our academic work. And today's discussion, as you can see, we are dealing with History Senior 5, paper 210/5, which is also called History of Government and Constitutional Development and Practice in East Africa. That is the paper that we are doing. Whereas our brothers are doing paper 1, paper 6, and other papers, for us we are doing paper 5. Our last discussion, we were on the topic of the concept of government. The concept of government. And remember we said that we have various forms of government derived from various types of constitutions that we have. We talked about monarchical constitution, federal constitution, unitary constitution, among others. But today, we are continuing with military government. Of course, we had started with the military governments. We are continuing with the military governments in East Africa. And particularly, we are discussing the disadvantages of military governments in East Africa. If we do not call them disadvantages, we are going to call them demerits. The merits of military governments in East Africa. If we do not call them demerits, we shall call them shortcomings. They are demerits, shortcomings, disadvantages, or weaknesses. Weaknesses of military governments. Remember, the last time that we talked about military governments, we gave examples of military governments in East Africa, and one of them we talked about the 1971 to 1979 military regime in Uganda, which was led by Colonel Idi Amin Dada. Idi Amin. This government lasted from 1971 to 1979. That was a military regime. We have another military regime in East Africa. Case study in Uganda, 1986 up to 1996. During this time, His Excellency Muhammadu Yoweri Kaguta Museveni rose to power in 1986, having gone through a protracted warfare that took place in Luwero. From 1986 up to 1996, I said, Museveni was ruling Uganda as a military government. We say that military governments are those governments that come to power with the aid. If you can't call it aid, you can call it the help of a gun. These governments come to power with the help of a gun. Amin came to power through a military coup that he executed on 25th of January 1971. Museveni came to power purportedly, as he says. He took over power on 26th of January 1986. We discussed the advantages of these governments in our previous discussion. Now today, let us look at the disadvantages. The advantages are already dealt with. Today, let us focus on the disadvantages. 1. Military governments turn into dictatorships. Military governments turn into dictatorships. Why? Because majority of such governments are not elected into power democratically. We know ways through which a government comes to power democratically. A government comes to power democratically through elections. In Uganda, for example, we hold numerous elections periodically. After a period of 5 years, we have elections. If a government comes to power using a gun, it is most likely to turn into a dictatorial government. Why does it turn into a dictatorial government? In order to galvanize, in order to consolidate themselves into power, they have to practice dictatorship, such as imprisonment of those people that try to oppose them, such as killing, denying people their rights and freedoms, freedom of speech, freedom of association, and other freedoms that persons are entitled to. So such governments, people who come to power using guns, in the long run, they turn up to become dictators. That is one disadvantage. So it promotes, military government promotes dictatorship in East Africa. Another point worth discussing or talking about is that many of them bring about economic mismanagement. Many military governments bring about economic mismanagement. As we said earlier on, these governments come to power with the help of a gun. They rise to power with the assistance of a gun or with the help of the military wing, the soldiers. Therefore, in order for themselves to keep themselves into power, in order for these military governments to keep themselves into power, what they do is they put a lot of funds into buying of ammunition. They put a lot of funds into improving on the military. As they are improving on the military, they mismanage other economic activities. A lot of the finances, economic finances, are injected into the military and into the ammunition because they know that it is through maintaining of the military, good status quo of the military, having well or good ammunition and guns that can only keep them into power. So as a result, this may result into economic mismanagement. Another weakness of the military regime, they create fear among the population. They create fear among the population. Why do they create fear? How do they create fear? They create fear through carrying out arrests, through killing, through illegal detention. Killing, arrests, illegal detention, among others. These killings, these arrests and illegal detention are intended to put fear into the public. I want to give an example. I do not want to seem political, and I'm not here particularly to talk about political affairs. I give certain examples the way they exist. In the previous elections, of course, the fact that we talk about elections in Uganda means we are under a democratic dispensation, a political dispensation. In the previous elections that were held, we saw very many younger people being held and abducted in the drones. And we saw a public outcry and outburst of these people being arrested in the drones and imprisoned in various facilities of government. As a result, very many of them came back with injuries, which we are not very certain whether they were caused to them by police or by the army. Of course, we cannot ascertain. But of course, the police has come out on several occasions to tell us that these people were either injured by themselves or any other means or before imprisonment. But as they came out of the prison, very many of them had wounds, flat irons onto their stomachs, other wounds elsewhere. If anyone was interested in opposing this government, having seen such injuries, this person would be intimidated. Such intimidation is what we talk about, the creation of fear. But I must play disclaimer that those wounds that you saw on those people probably were not caused by the security organs, but by other means. But generally, by these people getting imprisoned, others who remain outside are encompassed into untold fear. This is done in a way, this is done so as to help this government, the military government, to hold itself onto power. If you remember, another example, on Amin's regime, we remember very many killings. One of the most popular killings, I have seen all of you celebrating the day of Archbishop Janani Luwum. Ladies and gentlemen, Janani Luwum did not die of COVID-19. Janani Luwum did not die of accident, cholera, Ebola. No, Janani Luwum was shot at. So this sends a message. The killing of Janani Luwum, the killing of Benedicto Chiwanuka, among others, sends a message. Benedicto Chiwanuka was the Chief Justice of Uganda by the time of his murder. Janani Luwum was the Archbishop of Uganda by the time of his murder. This sends a clear message to all of you. If the government has been able to kill an archbishop, how about you, Elizabeth? If the government has been able to kill the Chief Justice, Ben Chiwanuka, how about you, a pauper? So if this message sinks clearly into your brain, then it will also point out one thing unto you, that this government is not to be opposed. So such fear is created by such governments, the military governments. another weakness. They lead to decline of social services. They lead to decline of social services. This point is somewhere related to this point. Mismanagement of the mismanagement of the economy. Let us go back here. We have said here that the economy is mismanaged. As a result of the economic mismanagement, it leads to decline of social services. Such social services, we talk about things like hospitals, health, hospitals and health. We talk about education and schools, infrastructure, such as roads, etc. The military regimes tend to ignore such social services like infrastructure, roads, social services such as education, social services such as hospitals, the health sector, are all neglected, as these military governments tend to put much of their budgeting on the military. So this is yet another disadvantage. Because Amin was aware that what brought him to power was the gun, he therefore had to embark on buying a lot of guns and then improving on the schools, and then improving on the hospitals, among others. Another negative effect or another disadvantage of military regimes is they bring about overstay in power. They bring about overstay in power. Why? Because these military leaders do not have the will to turn over power to the civilian rule. When we talk about civilian rule, we are talking about where the country is managed by civilians. For example, Obote. When Obote was administering Uganda, when Obote was ruling Uganda, this was a civilian ruler. Give an example of Kwame Nkrumah in Uganda between 1957 up to 1966, when he was also overthrown in a coup. Nkrumah was a civilian leader. When you talk about Mandela in South Africa, Mandela was never a soldier. He was equally civilian ruler. So when we talk about civilian rule, we are talking about a rule of the civilian, not of the military men. But when the military men take over power, they tend to overstay in power. Let us take an example. Amini in 1971 accused Obote of overstaying in power. He accused him of not organizing, putting Uganda on a democratic level. He promised that he was going to overturn this. Are you aware of the time when Amin left? Amin left in 1979. That was after a protracted war between Uganda and Tanzania. Amin did not want to leave power. In fact, to ascertain that, he called himself the life president. This is to justify to you how these dictators have power. He called himself the life president of Uganda. So the dictators tend to overstay in power. Why? Because they are always reluctant to return. Yet another disadvantage of military governments is that they always lead to wanton. If you do not want to use the word wanton, you can use the word massive. Massive loss of lives and property. These governments tend to kill a lot of people. We have already talked about death. We have given an example of Janani Muhumbu. We have given an example of Ben Chwangu. These were killed during Amin's regime. But on top of it, it is estimated that over 400,000 to 500,000 Ugandans died during Amin's regime. So during such governments, during their existence, the military regime tend to kill or destroy a lot of lives and a lot of property. Another, they increase nepotism and sectarianism. Nepotism and sectarianism. When we talk about nepotism, we are talking about a government that only favors its tribesmen. A government that only favors its tribesmen. I am very sure you have seen some of these governments, where the head of probably the army comes from a given tribe, head of given authority comes from another tribe, the same tribe, president comes from the same tribe. Such cases where you see one tribe dominating all important positions, that is what we call
nepotism. You can put an example of any country that you know or you have ever heard of. During such regimes rule, they promote nepotism. I want to give an example of Amin's regime. He only favored the Kakwa. He only favored the Kakwa and the Nubians. The Nubians. These were given key government positions. They ran most of the key government sectors. So such military regimes tend to promote a lot of nepotism, which leads to corruption, embezzlement of government funds, mismanagement of government funds, among others. Lastly, some of these military governments lead to poor international relationships. In other words, they destroy the relationship between themselves and their neighbors or even the international community. Let me give an example of Uganda. Amin, all of you that have read history have heard that Amin insulted Nyerere. One time when he told Nyerere that Nyerere was very beautiful, that if he was a woman, Amin would marry him. This wasn't the relationship between Uganda and Tanzania. You can go further and even examine or expedite the fact that Amin went and even occupied the Kagera salient, which belonged to Tanganyika or Tanzania by that time. There was a bad relationship between Uganda and Tanzania, poor international relations. The same with Kenya. Amin created a poor relationship with Kenyatta of Kenya. Or on top of it all, he worked out on a poor relationship between himself and the British. When Amin expelled the Asians, I told you that Amin expelled the Asians in 1972. He had a very poor relationship with Israel. When Amin supported the hijackers who had hijacked the Israelite plane, I think it was the German plane that was carrying Israelites, that first of all landed in Libya, but later on finally settled in Uganda. All of those worsened the relationship between Uganda and the military government of Amin and the other foreign countries. Let us take these examples of reference questions. Reference question 1. With reference to any East African state, examine the strength of the military government. I told you, when they tell you to examine the strength of the military government, you must as well bring the weaknesses. Bring the strength and the weaknesses. Advantages and disadvantages. Of course, categorize the advantages alone and later on the disadvantages. Then analyze the features of the military regime, of military governments in East Africa. Analyze the features. The features are the advantages and the disadvantages. Both of them are features of military. For example, they are characterized with killing or loss of life. They are characterized with so much spending onto the military. Those give the advantages and the disadvantages of the military regime. I request that we can continue with this discussion further. You can inbox me on my WhatsApp number 0703489754. You can inbox me, you can send me a voice note. I will answer, I will attend to you all the time. This is the end of our lesson. I pray that we revise our books to capacitate our levels of excelling when the term has been opened. Have a good day.